Welcome to Once Human. Holy crap, did my base. If you haven't heard of Once Human yet, it has extremely high quality gameplay, visuals and graphics, plus has some of the most unique and creepy monster designs. Also, there is endless survival freedom through this massive open world map. Tons of quests, dungeons, loot, and even challenging bosses to face along the way. I have barely scratched the surface of this game, but I've already seen some crazy stuff. And of course, this game is also completely free to play, either solo or with friends. So make sure to click that link in the description right now and go download Once Human on Steam and join the army of over 10 million players who have already downloaded this game. I have spent quite a few hours playing Once Human in my own time. And I have to say, I actually really enjoy it. It's like a mix between the best features from games like the Borderlands, The Division, Rust, Ark Survival Evolved, and of course DayZ. All with its own twist and style to make it into one huge enjoyable package. Further, to constantly provide players with updated game content, Once Human introduces the concept of scenarios, essentially the theme of a server. See it like playing a different map on DayZ, for example. Essentially, you start out in a warmer climate on the coastline before the scenario advances, unlocking newer, more challenging areas with raging wind and snow devastating everything in its path. So on this scenario, it's important to really focus on the survival side of things. Just like in the new DayZ Frostline DLC, you will need to get warmer clothing, food supplies, and various survival equipment if you want to survive throughout each phase. The difference, this is free to play. And it's even a little more in-depth than DayZ in terms of progression, but it has a similar idea of having to progress and focus on your character's survivability before heading deeper into the harsh environment. Okay, here we are. Once Human. This is the new scenario, so I want to check it out. It's kind of got a more survival aspect to it. It's quite similar to how the new DayZ Frostline DLC kind of works. Like DayZ Frostline, in this scenario you will start out in a cold environment, but in a warmer coastline environment compared to the harsher parts of the map, giving you the chance to gather supplies and get everything you need to keep your character warm. But you need to be fast because as this scenario advances, it will get harder to survive. Similar to how on DayZ, you will find it harder the further inland you are. So, you start in this Arctic domain, then it will go to stage 2 where it gets a lot tougher, a new zone opens and stuff. And this all lasts about 6 weeks, so it's kind of like a wipe on like DayZ or Rust. With only 1 week to prepare for the second much harder phase, it's important you get started fast. Just like in DayZ, you want to be rushing around and finding as many supplies as you can. So as soon as you spawn in, I recommend gathering supplies and building a camp. Set up our little camp right here.
The camp's looking nice.
This will allow you to craft some basics, like a torch which will give you a heat buff just like DayZ Frostline, so that you can survive in the cold. Therefore allowing you to travel around and gather other supplies for crafting, like warmer clothing and basic weapons. Make some warmer clothing. From here, you can do as you would on Rust or DayZ, and look for monuments to get supplies. You'll just need to fight off the monsters that protect the loot, of which you will find on the AI you kill, laying around on the floor, and inside various containers. Nice. Okay, that was decent. Just like other survival games, after you gather resources, you'll be able to use them to do various things. A big thing on Once Human is actually building and upgrading a base. You can do this really early on in the game, which is nice, and it's not too much of a grind. However, you will need to level up consistently to unlock new things for your base via the mimetic system. By unlocking things on the mimetic branches, you'll be given access to new items, most of which are for either crafting or upgrading your base in some way, or surviving the harsh environment. And trust me, there is a lot of stuff to unlock. It gives you something to work towards and allows you to progress through the game with objectives. Pretty early on, you can be far enough progressed in order to obtain your first armor sets and a basic weapon. Nice. At this point, you're ready to start exploring more of the map and gather more resources. And using the quest system, you can fairly quickly start obtaining more high tier loot as they take you to areas where you can fight AI, loot loads of various containers and ground loot, and find higher tier crates with rare items inside. A sniper rifle. Can I use that? I can. Sick. Okay, we got some stuff. Activate. Right, there's a few more things to do here. Activate Rift and look for Mystical Crate. Oh, I see the Mystical Crate. I think that's it up there. Oh, yes. Then can we get up from here? Yes. That's kind of cool. What does this give us? Snow Panther set. Blueprint. Oh god. Okay, yep, we're gone. We're so getting out here. What is that thing though? Is that an enemy? That is an enemy. Don't know where to shoot it though. But I guess we killed it. Ow. Ow. Activate Rift Marker. There we go. Nice. By doing these missions, you'll quickly obtain loads of useful items and start leveling up, therefore obtaining more points to use on the mimetic branches, and as you progress down this, you'll slowly but surely upgrade your clothing, armor, weapons, and before long, you'll need to expand your base also. The base building is pretty unique and expansive with loads of different options for design. For my base, I kinda just went with the flow, but it ended up being really cool. It's something I personally wish DayZ had in terms of how much detail you can put inside your base with furniture and various crafting things, but that's something for the future perhaps. This game, however, executes it extremely well. Nice. There's a more back now too. But don't be mistaken, just like in DayZ, your base can be raided by hordes of monsters. Just be a little bit more prepared than I was. Okay, so Stardust Resonant Filter. So apparently these monsters come and attack me. I get... Okay, let's try this. Attack the device. Something gonna come and attack me? Oh yeah, look. Oh shit, they're actually really high level. I did not need to reload right there. Oh my god, there's so many! But they're attacking my base. Wait, I might have screwed up. Holy shit, that hurt. Holy shit, they're in my base. They're destroying it. Oh my god, my base is getting destroyed. One second. There we go, it's done. They're gonna dip. I think they dip. Holy crap, did my base? What? Oh. Star crumb. Holy shit. Okay, well we got a lot of rebuilding to do. Jesus. Just like in games like DayZ and Rust, when you have a base down, it's going to make surviving a lot easier, as you will be able to have a safe space to operate from. It will also make surviving the cold a lot easier, as it gives you a stat buff. Similar to how being next to a fire in DayZ Frostline allows you to gain a heat buff. Also, like other base building survival games, once you have your base down, you will want to fill it with as much loot as possible. So far I've shown you a few different ways of obtaining loot, but that's not all. As you progress, you will also have the option to take on secure silos. These are like mini bunkers where you fight through a selection of different enemies with high tier loot before taking on a final mini boss to complete the silo.
Why would he come to me?
Look at these guys. That's got teddy bear hat and stuff. It's kind of cool. Damn, these guys take a beating. Explosives. Run, 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 run. Oh my god, look at this. Okay, I might have fucked up. I'm actually almost dead. Yes. Well, what does that give us? This little guy. Nice. Oh my god, that's so much loot. Further, you will be able to complete rift missions, which give you pretty good loot themselves. However, by activating enough rifts, you will be able to unlock a monolith boss. These are much more challenging, but the loot is much better than any of the other ways of obtaining loot. Again, you can do these solo or team up with other players to defeat the boss, and it's a fun, challenging way of obtaining high tier loot. Bro, what is this monster? What is that? Run for your life, mate. Okay, we've got it like half HP. Nice. Let's go, man. But remember, many of these more challenging ways of obtaining the high tier loot are located in a much harsher cold environment. So you need to take the time to prepare your character with as much warm clothing and equipment to withstand the cold as possible. Just like in DayZ Frostline, many of this is going to be based on your clothing status and thermal equipment like a torch. But it's a little more advanced than that, as you will be able to craft specific items using materials you have collected in the wilderness to get various advantageous buffs. For example, I managed to find some seals, and by collecting their skin I was able to craft clothing that gave me an additional heat buff. It's things like this that can make this game very easy to sink a lot of hours into. Oh hell yeah, looking cool. It's safe to say there is a lot to this game. There's an entire storyline, loads of different places to explore, and endless amounts of looting to be done. But that's not all. Remember, there are multiple stages to each scenario, and what you have seen so far is only available in Phase 1. Once you have spent many hours collecting resources, upgrading your base and equipment, and fighting off many of the bosses, you will be at a point where you are fast approaching Stage 2 of the Way of Winter. This is where things get a lot more interesting, and an endgame objective becomes clear. The whole point of this scenario is to progress far enough with your character so you can survive the cold, and as Stage 2 progresses, you will need to work together with other players to build and maintain a thermal tower. You can only build one of these in the second phase, and it is unlocked in the Memetics branch. And it's expensive to craft, but for a very good reason. A thermal tower will essentially give huge thermal buffs to the area surrounding it, allowing survival in the much harsher environment to become easier. For example, it can control the camp's temperature, turn the land around into oil fields, and speed up the production of facilities. The more friends you share the thermal tower with, the stronger it becomes. So, I strongly recommend you bring a few friends to play with you and survive together to see if you can beat this cold environment. The more the better, as also in the final stages of this scenario, enemies will try and attack you to destroy your tower. With this objective, you are focused on an endgame, so you will always have something to do. Something I find really enjoyable, as in games like DayZ or Rust, there comes a point when you run out of things to do, so it was a nice refreshing experience. If you are interested in DayZ Frostline but don't want to pay for an experience, then this is the perfect alternative. So what are you waiting for? Download Once Human for free using my link in the description, and if you guys are interested in more Once Human content, then let me know in the comments below what you would like to see.